Good
Is
afternoon,
my
ma'am.
voice hearable? PPT, whether it is visible? Can you see my PPT on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. So with last class, we started with the understanding about a very important market, that to be the consumer market, and it's uh, not very complicated than the other markets that we are going to look into. Therefore, we take it that as in first, that is in order that to be first. And along with that market, then we also wanted to understand what is consumer buying behavior or consumer buyer behavior in that particular market. So, depending on where that we are giving about our products and services, we really have to know the buyer's behavior for that particular market, because it is an exclusive one. We cannot have a common buying behavior for the markets which that we could identify. The markets can be organizational market, consumer market, within organizational market to have the industry, reseller market, government market, as well as international market, right? So it is exclusively different. Therefore, that we have to understand the buying behavior also uh, regarding of the particular market that we are going to operate. So, if we happen to be on the consumer market, then of course this is the model that we have to apply. So we have seen into the model, and of course the characteristics that is effective, that is coming under the black box, and of course the buying decision process, that is also another factor, and the types of buying decision behavior, so based on whether the involvement as well as they perceive about the differences among the brands. So we were able to also understand about the four behaviors that has been resultant of that. And of course, in case if it is a new buy, then of course, how the process is going to be. Right. So we that day saw about the consumer buying behavior, about the consumer market, and then went into the model of the consumer behavior. Right. So we really wanted to go through the model, and this model was based on the stimulus response model. And if we are moving into understanding about the stimulus is coming from marketing. So the marketing for piece, which is inducing. Mostly we can say stimulus means it is an inducement that the consumers are undergone, right? So, and plus to that, you will also understand that there are other environmental factors also may stimulators. And once the stimulus have been, or when you are being stimulated, you are moving into uh, the black box. You only gave me a definition for the black box, saying that it's very difficult for us to understand, right? So, time to time, it can be different, even from a person it may be differing about. So therefore, it is commonly named as a black box, and under that, two factors are really governing. One to be the characteristics of the bias, another one to be the decision process. And based on that, the bias response can be. So, how would the response be? What sort of attitude and preference that they are having about, and where that they are going to buy, what that they are going to buy, how much that they are going to buy, when that, these sort of things, and also with the brand and the company relationship behavior. So this was the model, and plus to that we saw one of the factor to be right under the black box, that to be the characteristics, and they come in categorized into, so for us to have a easier understanding, so that to be cultural, social, personal, psychological, and the respective factors were being taken individually, and we try to move on understanding of those factors, and those factors to said to be what sort of influence that they are having about, right? And with that, we behavior. So based on two aspects, one to be the involvement and another one to be the differences between the brand that they understand. We have been given a four behavior: complex buying, variety, dissonance, and habitual, right? So again, we further went on looking into if they are having this type of behavior, then what sort of behavior that they will be exhibiting, right? So, and of course, regarding certain products, we may be able to find out such type of a behavior. So that also we were able to go through, right? And I think finally we left on to this. That is, of course, the second factor of the black box, that to be the bias decision process, right? So how? I mean, before, as I already told you, purchase decision is not only one activity that happens when the purchase take place or when the buying take place. Of course, before the purchase decision also, there are a number of stages the consumers will be going through, and even after the purchase also, there is some stage that they will be going through. So we have to look into all of these stages and understand. For the market, it is very important because all of the stages where that he can be penetrating into the minds of the consumers. That is, he can take an opportunity or he can take a chance on influencing, right? So therefore, it is very essential for the marketer to know about these buying decision uh, making process. So as per the, the sequence of it. So mostly it will move into a sequence as this. First, the need recognition, then comes the information search, evaluation of alternative purchase decision, and the post-purchase behavior. This is how it's going to move. Now we'll come into the first one, that to be the need recognition. Now, what is need recognition? When the consumer really understand that or really recognize that he is undergoing a problem or is faced with a problem or some need that has to be fulfilled, right? So, most of the time, this problem or need may be triggered in the sense how it is coming into space or how it is coming into reality, right? So that is a triggering process. So this triggering process can happen by two factors, right? Which that they have found out. This is, of course, through the research and through of many what do you call operations that has been coming to realization. So this problem or this need can be triggered by two things. One to be the internal stimuli and the external stimuli. right? Most of the people, and of course, we also understand the case. We maybe have a problem, but at the same time, we also may have a need. But unless that is being triggered out, we don't realize that we are having a problem or a need, right? So it has to be triggered by some what do you call factors or some stimuli. That stimuli is being understood to be the internal as well as external. So there are two stimulus, right? Now, this we have to understand what is meant by internal stimuli and external stimuli. Now, internal stimuli, of course, um, and maybe that I am thirst, right? I am hungry, right? So when I'm hungry and when I'm thirst, I wanted something to eat or drink, right? So that is what is meant by the internal stimuli, right? So that is within ourselves, the realization of the need is coming out, right? So now maybe some products that I have been using has got over or that has finished. So therefore, then I wanted that to be replaced, right? So this is called as internal stimuli. External stimuli meant to be, now say we are crossing a bakery, right? So the smell that we get from the bakery, or maybe some display that they have had their eatables or their what you call items that we see about. Because of that, our need is been arising, right? Do you understand the difference between the internal stimuli and external one? Internal stimuli, in the sense, some need within ourselves that we have, right? So that also will be creating about some requirements, right? So that may be creating about a need or that may be creating about a problem. But instead of that, external stimuli means because of something that we are seeing of, right? Through our five sense, right? Seeing, hearing someone tell about a good, what do you call, things about the products or services, right? So he may be recommending or he may be telling that last week I bought about the television, that brand to be very good. So we are hearing something good about. So once that we hear that, then we will be stimulated. Okay, so he has bought, why that I don't buy, right? So for me, even though that I didn't have the need as such, I hear something from my friend or my relative saying about good of the things that they have bought, then in my like real, that I will realize that I also wanted something, right? So through this five sense, by hearing, by smelling, right, by seeing, by touching, right? And also by our tongue that we are realizing some of the requirements that has to be fulfilled. So that is what we call it as an external stimuli. Right? So our need can be induced by internal as well as external. So as a marketer, what that we have to do, we have to play what do you call increase the word of mouth, right? Good things that to be told by our products or services. So by these sort of things that we can make the consumers or customers to realize that they have a need, they have to understand or they have to bring it to the reality that they are requiring something, right? So that is only what is meant by need recognition. Now once the need is been recognized or once that the requirement has been brought into light, what would be the next step or what would be the next process where the consumers is moving? They will be searching for information. Why information is wanted? We know there are a number of products available in the marketplace. And we also have to realize what sort of need that we are really having about. Some people may not realize what sort of need that is having. Now, say for an instance, if I require a pen to write, right? So regarding of the pen, what that I'm expecting, whether I wanted the colors to be good or whether I just wanted the pen to write for longer period or whether the pen to be very writing about very clearly, very smoothly, right? My requirements also can be different. My requirements may not be similar to another person's requirement, right? So I also have to realize what sort of requirement that I am having. If I'm going to buy a phone, then my requirement may be different from the other person's requirement. I want a phone which can be used for all the purpose, right? If I'm going to communicate, I want that phone. If I'm going to see the internet, I through that phone I must be able to do it. If I'm going to log into my email, I must be able to do it. I must be able to use about the WhatsApp, right? Many things that I wanted that particular phone to fulfill. But same requirement which is that I am having may not be the other person's requirement, right? So in order to understand what uh, I really wanted, not only that, what is really available also. So once I am forming the requirement by the information I have, at the same time, I also come to know what is available. Right? So therefore, for the consumer or for the customer, uh, in the second stage, he will be moving on searching for the information. Right? So the amount of information which is needed for the buying process, right? So and also it depends on the strength of the drive, right? So strength of the drive in the sense by what stimuli that I have realized my requirement, right? If that stimulus degree, the degreeness of the stimuli is less, then of course I won't be going for much information. But in case if the stimulus have brought my requirement to another degree or to the higher level, then of course my search would be more. Right? So therefore, that I will be starting my process of requiring information or searching for the information, right? And also those information have to be available at my closest, right? In the sense it should be accessible, right? And also there is a value that can be placed on the information. So in case that if a marketer is giving more information, that would be a real value addition for the reason that regarding of the requirement, he is been giving more information from which that I can have a choice or I can evaluate which one to be good for me, right? So the information is very, very important at this particular point. So since the consumer goes on searching for the information, the marketer's responsibility is to make those requirements understood properly by the consumer, at the same time also make the products information or the service information or whatever that is marketed by the institutions or the organizations, the information to be available. So this is another marketing perspective, in the sense this is what the behavior the consumer will be showing. With respect to this behavior, what sort of things or what sort of activities the marketers have to involve, right? So this that we are able to see through this. Now, when it gets into the information search, most of the time the source of information is the vital one, right? In the sense it deemed to be very important, and how they are getting about the information. So marketers have to know what are the sources that they are going in order to obtain that information. Okay, so now you will see some of the sources that have been listed out here is the common source where consumers really move on searching or accessing for, right? Now, one to be the personal sources, of course, from the family and the friends, they come to know or they try to understand. The other one to be the commercial sources. So, what is commercial sources? Through advertisements or through some pill cards or through some informations that have been displayed. And even nowadays, that you will really know through the internet. Most of the time, the information are being searched by, right? So, commercial sources is that. Maybe public sources through mass media and consumer organization, in the sense the organizations which are very protective, right, with respect to the consumers. So they may be the pressure giving organization, the protective organizations of consumers, right? So through that also, that because those organizations will be having what do you call some procedures, right? So now, say if you are going to purchase this, these are the things that you have to check. You have to check for the prices, you have to check for the weight, you have to check for the expiry, manufacturing. Many things may be requiring about by this organization. So the consumers know that when they are buying about such products, these are the things that I have to really come to know about. Information is really wanted. So that is public sources, and also some experimental sources, in this sense, in maybe the people who have bought it, used it, right? And some, of course, not that they have bought it, but they have had an inspection. Now, say for an instance, if I wanted to buy a fridge, right? Before I bought the fridge, or before I buy about the fridge, I will have an inspection. I will open it and see what is the capacity of it, how it look by, how the doors are closing, whether the doors can be locked, made it secure, many things that I will be. So that is through the examining of, right, and using the product, right. Now, how the product is being used. Once the product is being bought, now how the products is being used, in the sense the experienced people who have undergone when they have purchased such products, right? So you can get information from those sources who have really purchased it, right? Who have used it or who have gone into the stage of at least examining it or even handling about, right? So they may not, what do you call, had an ownership of that product, but of course, they are involved with handling of it. Now, say for an instance, in the office, the laptop that we are using, we are not owners of those laptops, but of course, we are being handling of that. So, there is information that could be provided. So, in the information search, right, the sources through which the consumers are able to access information is very important. Therefore, as a marketer, we must try to maximize these sources through which, the sources have to be used in order to give about the information, right? So that is that. Now, okay, he has got the information. Now, what would be the information? what is his expectation, uh, right, of purchasing the particular product, what is his expectation. And other one is what are the products that is available in order to fulfill such requirements. Okay, so once that he pass about the previous stage, he will now know about what is the expectation and what sort of products, or mainly we can say what sort of brands that are available in order to fulfill it. Right? So at the third stage, what will happen is they will try to evaluate those alternatives. What is my expectation? What are the alternatives that is there? And what would be the best for me to purchase? Right? So what would be the best for me to purchase? That is what that takes place under the evaluation of alternatives. Right? So evaluation of alternative is okay. So what is available? What are the brands that are available? Therefore, it is a requirement, since there is more choices to be made, then I must have a selection of it. I have to, so selection is here wanted. So in order to do about the selection, alternatives have to be evaluated, right? So how the alternatives can be evaluated, in the sense we may have the expectation. Now, say for an instance, if I am buying about um, a phone, right? What is my expectation? The price, right? The performance of it, the color, the shape of it, right? Maybe the design, right? So I have just confined it to the four items. Four things are there. Now, four will be listed as attributes. So this is what I expect from the product, right? So my expectation, that is what I was earlier also saying. Information will make the consumers to understand what expectation he is having, right? What with respect to the product he is having, the attributes that he wanted from the product. And not only that, he regarding of the information, the availability of alternatives or availability of the brands. Now, by the example which I was talking about, so there are five attributes from the particular product that I am going to buy. I have, right? Now, what I will be doing is I will be listing out, but there are alternatives, in the sense that the different brands, right? So I may have iPhones, or there can be Apple phones. Apple phones or iPhone, or it can be Samsung. No, Nokia, of course, is not available, but still some are having. Right, so different brands will be put forward, and with respect to those brands, of the expectation or the attribute I'm having now, that will be evaluated. Now, say for an instance, iPhone and Samsung. Okay, price. So price wise, iPhone is going to be more than Samsung phone, right? That depends on the model. I'm not going more detail into that. Right? So what is the performance price wise? I will be expecting what you call less price, which has more performance. So now compared to this, right? iPhones to be more price and Samsung phones to be less price. So less price phones will get more value. And what about the shape? Now the iPhones have good shape than Samsung phone. Now, of course, I'm comparing two. I may have more than two brands to be compared, right? I'm just an example. I'm moving on that direction. Right? So this may have, I mean, shape-wise, iPhones may get more value than some Samsung phones, right? So from there, now I'm moving to the other expectation that to be another attribute. Likewise, when I move into how many attributes I wanted to look into, 5 attributes as an example. And so once that I move into the attributes, then I will come to know maybe the iPhones are having good attributes. Like we'll say out of 5, 3 to be good, right? Samsung is having only 2 to be good. So which one would be my selection? That to be iPhone, right? So this is how the evaluation of alternative happens. Right. Now, thereafter, when I move to the next stage, I will be formulating. I mean, from the previous stage, actually, I will be formulating a decision, or in myself, there is a decision that is being made to purchase this product, right? So the purchase decision is said to be an act by consumer to buy the most preferred brand, right? So this is what now we have earlier seen. So this is an act by consumers to buy the most preferred brand, right? So this is purchase decision, or we may call it as a purchase intention. Okay, it is said that between the purchase intention and purchase decision is what that I'm going to make in this stage, right? So before I make my purchase decision, there can be two factors influencing. Have you got that point? Before my purchase. So from the previous stage, I have formed the intention to purchase it, right? Now after the intention, my action will be purchasing of it, that making about the purchase decision. But here what they have found out is that before my purchase decision happens, there are two factors which can influence. So you have to be very careful. As a marketer, there is more precautions that has to be made, right? Uh, though that you have been successful in making your brand preferred or intended to be purchased by the consumer, still before that he turned those intention into the purchase decision, there is two important factors influencing. So what are those two factors? Now here you see about two factors which is given here. That is one to be the attitudes of others, right? I would have preferred this, but maybe my friend or my family member or even relative, right, may influence on my decision, on my intention, right? So that is what we call it as attitudes of others, right? And the other reason which is being brought into is unexpected situational factors, right? Now, say for an instance, I preferred iPhone, no? Right? For that, I should have had the money to purchase. Now, all of a sudden, for some reason, my salary has been stopped, or I was not able to get this month's salary. Right? So now, what will happen? I have to shift my intention, not purchasing of the iPhone. Rather than that, if my what you call requirement is very urgent, then I will be going to the other brand. Otherwise, I have to wait until I get the sufficient of funds to purchase it. Right? So Now, see, the situational factors are also influencing the decision that I have made, right? Decision to purchase until that becomes the real purchase. That is what I am talking about. Before the purchase decision, right? There are some factors that may be influencing. So those factors you have to be very careful. Now, as a marketer, what I can do now, if the person understands that he's what you call he's hearing about his friend's right opinion or his experience or maybe he's buying, then this marketer has to influence the friend, right? So he has to convince the friend that my brand or the marketer's brand to be good to be purchased. So if once that the friend is convinced, right, of what is being told, now what the friend will be doing, friend will be influencing me to purchase it, right? So this is how the marketer must try to penetrate into the person's decision. Okay, so this is the purchase decision. So we will say the product is being purchased. Okay, now once that the product is being purchased, it does not get terminated. Means the process does not get terminated with the purchase decision itself. Right? There is also the behavior thereafter the purchase which can be taken place. So that is what we call it as a post purchase decision. Right? So what is post purchase decision? So once that you have bought the product, now you are going to evaluate, right? Though that you have evaluated before, right? When the purchase decision had to be made, that is have been evaluated. So what you have done is now merely you have taken the attributes of the product that you wanted and compared with the alternative brands. Right now, once the purchase has taken place, you are going to compare the performance of that particular brand, right? This is now the performance of the particular brand. There are alternative brands that we evaluated. Here in the post-purchase decision, we have purchased, we have had a choice of purchasing a particular brand. Now that brand will be evaluated against the expectation, that is against the attributes of the product, right? So when it is been compared, you will get a result of three things, right? One to be satisfaction, right? Your expectation is equivalent to the product performance, product, service, or whatever, right? Market is equivalent to the product performance. Under that circumstances, what happens? The person is satisfied, right? So that is one situation. The next situation is the expectation being more than the product performance. So, under these circumstances, what would be the feeling of the consumer? Can anyone tell me? The question that I asked was the expectation being more than the product performance. Means product performance is less, expectation is more. So, how would the consumer feel? No one is there to answer my question. I said regarding of the purchase, like post-purchase behavior will be evaluating the product performance. That is what here it is been given. The consumer's expectation and the product perceived performance. Okay. So there is a comparison between this. Consumer's expectation is equal to the performance, then consumer is satisfied. My question is that the consumer's expectation being more than the product performance. So, what would be the feeling of the consumer? $142 com. Unmute yourself. Com 142. $142, I'll remove you. Huh? $147 MS. Unmute yourself first. என்னடா என்னது இந்த காலையில இருந்து காசு காசா கொடுத்தேன்னா அவருக்கு என்ன தனியா கொடுத்துருவாங்க. MS 147. If you are not unmuting, then I will remove you. MS 147. MS 152. MS 152. It's pointless of taking lectures for you. Com 5. Com 5. Com 15. Com 15. MS 73.
Yes, ma'am.
MS 73.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. First rule is okay. You have unmuted. What is the answer?
Can you repeat the question, ma'am?
Little loud, I can hear you. What is it?
Can you repeat the question, ma'am?
When the expectation is more than the product performance, what would be the consumer's feeling? That is what
Consumer
we are
is more.
observing now by post-purchase behavior.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What is your answer?
Consumer feels like dissatisfaction, ma'am.
Not slight, he is dissatisfied. Isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So once that the expectation is same as or equivalent to the product performance, then he is satisfied. But in case if the expectation is be more than the product performance, he will be dissatisfied. Where MS 73? You have gone.
Ma'am.
Yeah. Next question is, if it is other way around, the expectation to be less and the product performance to be more,
The consumer will satisfied.
satisfaction we have already had, no? What is the situation of the satisfaction?
Expectation equal to the performance.
Yeah. And again, you have said if the expectation is more than the product performance, dissatisfaction. Isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now I have posed you another question. When the expectation is less than the product performance, means product performance is more than the expectation. We'll have it on that way. I think now you will say what the answer. The performance is more than the expectation.
The consumer feels more satisfied and purchase more.
He is more satisfied. So that more satisfaction is told to be delighted. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Delight. Right? So now, how many situations are there? Com 146. I didn't ask you. Com 143. No. Com 146. Remove. Next time, don't come to the class, huh? Remove people. Com 21. 21. Com 21. 21. At least unmute yourself now. MS 92. MS 92. MS 92. MS 98. MS 98.
Yes, ma'am.
Where are you? You are
Yes,
there.
ma'am.
Yeah. How many situation is there?
3 situation.
Very good. 3 situation is there. One is satisfaction,
Dissatisfaction.
dissatisfaction,
Third one, delight.
hmm,
Delight.
delighted. Yeah, delighted. So this is what we see it as a post-purchase behavior. Right? So at the post-purchase behavior, whether the person is being satisfied, not satisfied, or having about the delightment has to be found. Right? So if he is satisfied, then what sort of behavior he will be showing? Next time he is going to purchase with the same marketer, right? So next time the purchase will happen, that is the repeated purchase is going to take place. At the same time, sometimes next time he will be purchasing more. In the case if he is dissatisfied, next time the repeat purchase may not happen. And the very bad thing is the word of mouth will be spreading by this particular person saying that not to purchase from this marketer, right? So the word of mouth, of course, is very powerful because that is the experience that the consumers have undertaken or undergone, right? So if you have undergone an experience of purchasing and if you tell it by your mouth that whether this to be good or a bad, people are there to believe, right? So person is dissatisfied, then of course it is really a danger where the sales can also decrease. At the same time, this person may be blocking others to purchase from your organization, right? In case if it is delighted, what will happen? More and more purchase will happen, and the positive word of mouth. The previous case had been the negative word of mouth, right? So here now we find that to be the positive word of mouth, right? So by positive word of mouth, more and more sales are going to happen. So case those two situations to be positive, that is satisfaction and delighted. And of course, if it is dissatisfaction, then of course that situation is very much worsened, right? So there is also a thing that we have to learn, that to be the cognitive dissonance, right? Uh, so this may happen because of the discomfort caused by the post-purchase conflict, right? So maybe some of the things that could be promised and you are not keeping up your promises. Now, say for an instance, that to be a pre-delivery, but you are not doing that. Sometimes it would have been promised if a quantity being increased that you will be provided about discounts, but it does not happen. So in that time, there may be conflict also taking place. Right? So in this post-purchase behavior or in the post-purchase decision, really the satisfied consumers will be having a good relationship with the marketer. So this marketer has to capitalize on the satisfaction the consumers have had by having about a relationship built, right? So when the relationship is built, these people will be retaining with the organization for a very long period, and not only that, uh, ultimately the consumers will have the lifetime value, so that the organization gets about the customer lifetime value, which is of course very productive for their marketing operations, right? So that is what that we are going to see about. And finally, in this particular chapter, we have to also explore on to the case when if the new products are being purchased, right? So new product in the sense the goods or the services or maybe ideas or whatever, right? So where the consumers are going to purchase it at the first time, right? So that would be the first instance the purchase is going to take place. So under that situation, whether the same process through which now we have understood now the consumers are moving into, whether that has taken place or whether that would be the process through which the consumers will be moving, have to be really uh, understood. Actually, if the product is being new, then they are moving into an adaptation process, right? So the adaptation process means that it is a mental process where the individual are going through from first learning about an innovation to the final regular use, right? So since it is a new product, right, so they have to learn very much about the particular product, and then only they will realize about the real usage of, right? So the adoption process is having about these particular stages. Now one to be the awareness, other one to be the interest, then followed by the evaluation, then goes into trial, and thereafter the adaptation is taking place, right? So this is the stages where in the case of the new product the process will happen. In the case if it is a old product or a used product, what is the process? In the case if it is an old product or a used product, MS11. MS11. Remo. MS17.
Ma'am?
MS17. 17
Yes,
is
ma'am.
already. 17?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. That is the whole process. Did you understand my question? Now, I said in the case if the product is new, then the consumers will be moving into the following process, that is awareness, interest, evaluation, trial, and adaptation. But if the product is not new, what is the process he will be moving? Because you have unmute, I am not going to remove you. I will switch to another person. MS 61.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. But is the old process? Not actually old process. If the product is not new, what would be the process that the consumer would move? Do you understand the difference between that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What is the process that the person will be moving if it is not a new product? You can just try. MS 73.
Ma'am,
What's the process? Hmm? I was speaking with respect to two situations. One is if the product is being a used product or already bought product, right? The process through which the consumer will be moving, as well as if the product is going to be bought for the first time, right? The process through which the consumers will be moving. So, if the product to be bought at the first time, the process through which the consumer will be moving is first he will be having the awareness of the product since it's a new. Then he will get interested into. Then he may be going for an evaluation. Then he may not buy it to the fullest amount wanted. He will have a trial, one or two, or one. Then, once he is satisfied, he will move into an adaptation. That is, in the case if the product is new. If the product is old, then what is the process he is going to move? Number 73.
yes, ma'am.
Huh? Sorry? Or anyone else who can volunteer yourself to tell this answer? MS 57?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
They don't buy the product.
You don't buy the product.
Yeah.
That is one answer you got.
Yes, madam.
The person is not going to buy the product. That's your answer.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. MS 127? MS 127. Anyone who can give me the answer. MS 57? 57 was the person I earlier called.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. MS 11? Sorry, 111? And 11 is gone. MS 100? You will kill my time. 100? 100? Unmute yourself. 100?
Ma'am?
Yeah. Now only I hear a male voice.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, 100.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What is the answer?
Ma'am,
I think you know the answer. Yeah?
get the customer feedback and plan how to purchase it.
Get the customer's feedback and then understand how he is purchasing.
How our
Okay.
expert and the product quality.
Okay. When it is a new, when it is old product.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. MS 121. MS 121. I don't know why you are like MS 125. MS 124. MS 73.
Yes, ma'am.
Got the answer?
I don't know whether it is correct or wrong,
No,
ma'am.
I have already told you I am not going to school. Even if you have told what do you call a totally wrong answer. Yes, tell me.
If the product is all product,
Hmm? Yeah, this one is echoing.
trial.
Huh? No, what was the process earlier we studied? The person, when he is purchasing the product again and again, what is the process he goes on? First, he realizes about the need, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
MS 73. 73?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. First, he realize about the need. Secondly, he will go for information search. Third, evaluation. Fourth, purchase decision. Fifth, post-purchase behavior. This is when the product is bought in a repeated way, right? The product is bought in a repeated way, this is the process now is going to go. Now, all of a time, we will say for an instance, now you are feeling hungry. Need is been recognized. Then what? You will search for information. Where the food, where the food, those sort of things. Then you will be evaluating within the alternative, right? Then you will make about the purchase decision, and in case the purchase is or the performance is okay, then you are satisfied. If not, then post purchase behavior is there. Then the next time when the hunger comes, you will recognize the need. That is the way person will be moving, right? So that is of course what I was teaching earlier. That is the repeated purchase through which the person moves on. The buying decision process will happen in that way. But in the case if it is a new product, right? Good thing I asked that question from you, right? When the case if it's a new product, he won't move in the similar way, right? So first the awareness have to be created. Then not only creating about the awareness, he has to get interested over. If the interest comes, then the evaluation will take place. And thereafter he will have a trial, then the adaptation process. Right? So now see the stages in the adaptation process. In the sense, this is the buying process, but the situation here is the product is being bought for the first time. That is the new product is being bought. Right? So awareness is when the consumer becomes aware of have the proper information. Right? Here, when he got interested in, the consumers will seek for information about the particular product. Then the evaluation, consumer considers whether trying about these new products makes any sense. That is whether it is worth for us to try for it. Then if it's so, then he will move into the trial, right? So he will try to buy the new product, right? And understand whether it is fulfilling the requirement. That is the estimation of value by the purchase of that, whether the value is being created. And finally, he will get into adaptation. That is where the consumer decides to make the full and the regular purchase in the future. Have you got that? Right? So if it is not a new product, a used product which the person is going to buy, what would be the process he moves on? That to be the need recognition, right? Information search, evaluation of the alternative, then purchase decision, then the post-purchase behavior. But in case if the product is bought for the first time, this is how he's going to move. Awareness, interest, evaluation, trial, and adaptation. Right? So sometimes this may also be regarding of new product purchase, right? So there may be an individual differences also come into, right? So that one can be the early adapters, right? So here, opinion leaders and adopt new ideas early but cautiously. Right. So here that they are getting about some ideas from the opinion leaders and try to adapt themselves into purchase of those products which are new or which are going to be first time consumed with in a very cautious process, right? Early majority, of course, are deliberate and adopt new ideas before the average person, right? So average person will move in a very, what you call, a smoother way. But early majority people, of course, they will try to adapt before then an average person gets into adaptation. And late majority, of course, they are very skeptical, right, and adapt the new ideas only after the majority of people have tried it, right? So these people are not now early adapters and early adapters, of course, they move in a slow process, but anyway, they take their decision relatively in a quicker way, right? Early majority, of course, also they are also doing the same thing, but of course, than the average person, they are uh, early to move. But late majority, of course, they are having some doubtful of purchasing the new products. So therefore, until many of the people or until the majority of the people purchase it, they are a little bit reluctant to purchase. So once that the majority moves on, then they will try to have the new product conceived. And the final one is the laggards. Right? They are of course suspicious regarding of the change, right? So, and of course, they will be very slow, and until that it becomes a tradition, right? Tradition in the sense, majority of the people have purchased, used it, and again that they have gone into, right? So until that, they are not ready to purchase it, right? So these purchase decision or the purchase process for the new product can also be what do you call influenced by important aspect, one to be the product characteristics and on the rate of adaptation, right? So these factors which have been listed out is the factors which are relevant to the product, which may influence the process in which the consumers are going for the decision making for the new product, right? One is the relative advantage, right? So whether by the particular product or the degree to which the innovation is looked like that it is more superior than the existing product, right? So that will be what you call increasing the rate of adaptation. Now, relative advantage, if they think that that to be less or that not to be there, then of course their adaptation process will be less in degree. The other one is innovation fits the values and experience of the potential consumer. Right. So regarding of the particular persons, right, values and experience, if these products are compatible, the new products are compatible, then of course the adoption process will be more. That is, of course, if the new product is unable to be, right, understood, very complicated, right, then of course also the adaptation process will be very much less. And divisibility, that is of course the degree to which innovation may be tried on a limited basis. That is not necessary to consume the whole product because there is high risk over that. If the product can be consumed in a partial way or in what you call part by part, then of course the adaptability will be more. If that cannot be done, then of course the adaptability will be less, right? So this is what we have to learn by the fifth chapter, no? Fifth chapter, that is on the consumer market and the consumer buying behavior. Okay, have you understood? Okay, now doubts are clear. Students, I am asking from you, answer me please.
Yes, ma'am.
Huh? 73, you are unmuted. 73?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Yeah, clear. Not only 73 should understand. I want all the class to understand. Since 73 is answering me, then I keep on calling. Next time I have to call someone else. Okay. Right. So thank you very much. So we will meet on the next class. That is tomorrow 10:30. Yeah. Bye.
Recording